Hello, Homestead. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now for a moment of silence.
Hello, Homestead. It's Friday, February 19th, and time for an all-new HHS In-Depth. I'm Austin Render.
And I'm Brooke Ann Hensley.
Today's show includes stories about how students can plan for a trip to Washington, D.C. next January and witness the inauguration of the next United States President, as well as tour other historical places in our nation's capital.
Reporter Joey Quayle brings us an investigative look into why certain sports at Homestead are attended more frequently by the student body, while some barely get any student support.
We'll bring you a story about our academic decathlon team, who just placed third at state last weekend.
And Austin is back with another sports corner, this week getting us prepared for a busy athletic weekend involving Homestead students and teams.
We'll have all these stories and more, so stay tuned for another edition of HHS In Depth.
I'll be over at 10, you told me time and again, but you're late. I wait around and then I run to the door. I can't take anymore. It's not you let me down again.
We begin today's show with a story about a trip to Washington, D.C. that you can take with the Social Studies Department next year. You'll get to witness the inauguration of our next United States President, as well as visit many historical sites. Here's HHS In-Depth reporter Nathan Vasquez with the story.
The presidential election is just around the corner, and with that, Homestead is now offering an opportunity to attend the inauguration of the new president.
The main point of the trip would be to see the new president being inaugurated. So we'd take part in the inauguration parade, and we would take part in the swearing-in ceremony of the new president. Typically, very few percentage of people in the world get to do that. So it's kind of a unique thing.
As well as watching the inauguration, students will be exposed to the numerous Washington, D.C. attractions.
We're going to be going to all kinds of museums and monuments, like the White House, the Supreme Court, the Smithsonian Institute, Holocaust Museum, Vietnam Wall, things like that. So it's a lot of really cool sightseeing events.
The cost of the trip may seem high, but in reality, when taking into account all of the expenses of the trip, it would be much cheaper than going yourself.
The cost is slightly over $1,300, but that includes everything on the trip, the transportation out there, the hotels, the food while you're out there. There are some small things that it wouldn't take care of, like your meals on the way out to DC and on the way home, and then a few lunches, like when you're at a museum type thing. And then any souvenirs you'd want to buy would be on your own. $1,300, including all that, is a really good price. Plus, you have an entire year to pay it off, which is really big. You don't have to pay it off now. You get a small down payment put down, and then you get to pay it off throughout the year.
Even though the deadline has passed to receive a discount, you can still sign up for this great experience for a slightly higher cost. If interested, please contact Mr. Harkness for further information. For HHS In-Depth, I'm Nathan Vasquez.
Attention seniors who are on track to graduate with academic and/or technical honors in 2016. The CHIPS form you received at advisory last week must be returned to Student Services by Monday, February 22nd. Please see Mrs. Boniff in Student Services if you have any questions.
All students who wish to take the Parent Club SAT and ACT exams for practice on March 12th need to turn in their registrations by Friday, February 26th. More information is on the Parent Club website, hhsparentclubfw.com. And please direct any questions to hhspracticeexams@gmail.com.
There will be an Eco Club meeting on Wednesday after school in Ms. Merkling's room, room 206. Even if you have not attended a meeting yet this year, feel free to join them next week. Shirts are in, so make sure that if you've ordered one, you plan to attend. Again, the next Eco Club meeting is Wednesday in room 206.
Have you ever wondered why some Homestead sporting events are attended or supported by more students than others? HHS In-Depth reporter Joey Quell did some investigating to find out why Homestead students feel the way they do when it comes to supporting their peers at athletic events.
The uneven recognition of some sports over others has become increasingly clear, as last year's statistics show that all sports teams' profits, excluding basketball, totaled to about $41,000. This may seem like a lot until compared to football's whopping $45,000. So, why do we value some sports more than others? We talked to some student athletes to find out more.
I feel like smaller sports usually get less attention because if you watch TV, you have the NBA, you have the NFL, you don't really hear much about swimming or volleyball or cross country unless it's on like the Olympics or something like that. But most of the time, they're just small sports that people ignore.
I do feel like some sports receive more attention because some sports are like more well-known, like in the U.S. than other sports, such as basketball is more popular here than it is in like Spain or something. Soccer is in Spain than it is here. So I feel like some of the sports get more attention because where we live.
So it seems that our athletes think that smaller sports receive less recognition due to a national inclination to favor sports like football and basketball. However, this stigma leaves some students puzzled as to why the girls' basketball team consistently receives less support than the boys.
I feel that female sports receive less attention than male sports, once again, because we've grown up in a society where male sports they're dominant, and back in the past it was females didn't even play sports, and our student body is taking on that mindset, and we don't get as much coverage, as much student section people saying, hey, come to the girls game because this and this and this. There was even a tweet a while ago that the student body leader, I don't know who it was, tweeted out that come to the boys game at 7:30 when our game started at 6 right before them. And just little things like that kind of make it difficult to get that same amount of recognition and jump to that equality that we're all striving to get.
This feeling of unrecognized effort is universal in every small sport or female sport that we spoke to. However, some argue that certain sports are simply more exciting than others.
I feel like our girls team is really, really good. I have nothing against them. They're a really good team, but like some of the other teams in the city are not as good as the girls basketball team. And our girls like blow out most of the other teams in the city. So, I mean, those games are really exciting, but I feel like people don't like going to blowout games. And like most of the guys' games, I guess they've been like closer than the girls' game have been this year.
Although it's true that this year's varsity girls team tends to prevail in most games, this shouldn't justify the historical discrediting of female and small sports.
Why do you think female sports receive less recognition?
Yeah, because they're female.
Clearly, Sam's remark was sarcastic. Still, I think it says something about our society if that's the first thing that comes to mind. So what do you think, Homestead? Do we support sports based on regional preferences and excitement, or is it something rooted deeper in society's values? Feel free to voice your opinion on the subject at HHS In-Depth's Twitter page. For HHS In-Depth, I'm Joey Quell.
Go out to Anime Club on Monday, February 22nd for a belated Valentine's Day celebration. They'll have a discussion about romance, anime, and Valentine's Day traditions in Japan. Anime Club is in room 725 after school next Monday.
Auditions for the spring musical Crazy for You will be held Monday and Tuesday, February 22nd and 23rd from 5 to 7 p.m. in the choir room. Callbacks will be Wednesday, February 24th from 3 to 6 p.m. in the choir room. Prepare 16 to 32 bars of music to sing for your audition. Sign up for an audition slot outside the choir room.
The academic decathlon team recently placed third in the state competition. HHS In-Depth reporter Ali Qureshi brings you a story dedicated to the group of students who make up the Homestead's academic decathlon team.
You may have heard of Academic Decathlon, a competition that tests students' knowledge and skills on a variety of different subjects. This past weekend, Homestead's very own Academic Decathlon team competed in the state finals at Purdue University. I had the chance to talk with some of the hardworking members to help shed some light on the team and some of their great accomplishments.
Academic Decathlon is one of the academic teams that Homestead has to offer. So students would take 7 tests, which include math, economics, science, history, language, art, and music. And then the other 3 events would be an essay, a speech, and an interview.
It's basically a national competition where you take a bunch of different tests in many different subject areas. For example, this year's topic was India, so we took tests about Indian music and art and stuff like that.
Members of the team must compete in 10 events, which is actually where the name decathlon stems from, and students must be ready for the hard work that it takes.
At a competition, we normally get there in the morning, and first we write about a 45-minute essay about one of 3 different prompts, and then we take 6 or 7 multiple choice tests. We perform a 3.5 to 4 minute speech, a 1 to 2 minute impromptu speech, and an interview.
And then at the end of it all culminates into something called the oral super quiz. And then it's really just a major test of academic endurance. Like, can you actually survive it?
The team is split into 3 distinct classes based on GPA, and while students are grouped separately, every student competes in all 10 events to achieve one goal.
Well, the roles of the team are the honors, scholastic, and varsity sections, which are determined by GPA, and so there are 2 to 3 people for each section that make up the team.
The state competition took place at Purdue University, where the team did very well and placed 3rd. The competition was interesting and gave students a chance to share their ideas with others.
Even we got to see something called the speech showcase, where you got to see other people's speeches, and that was really fun because you could see other people take the same exact tasks to make a speech, and they would just blow your mind with it.
The team overall did very well, with Amina Sohail capping off the individual competition with the state championship in the scholastic division.
I overall did pretty well, I think, a lot better than I expected, and I think that everyone else felt like they did really well too. I feel like we all felt accomplished afterwards.
The academic decathlon team worked hard and did a great job at the state finals. Make sure to congratulate your fellow Spartans for their great accomplishments. Reporting for HHS In Depth, I'm Ali Qureshi.
There will be an informational meeting for anyone wanting to try out for the softball team. The meeting will be on Tuesday, February 23rd from 2:50 to 3:15 p.m. on the deck above the main gym.
Baseball players. Anyone interested in trying out this spring must attend a short informational meeting with Coach Bile on Wednesday, February 24th at 2:40 p.m. in room 718.
Just Because Week is next week, and to get you caught up on the wardrobe themes and other activities taking place next week, here's Casey Stanley.
Just Because Week starts next Monday. Now here's the wardrobe rundown. Netters, the annual Juniors vs. Seniors boys volleyball tournament is Monday. Team check-in is at 6:15 and the tournament will start promptly at 6:30. Enter through door 7. Admission is free, so come out to enjoy this fun Homestead tradition. For HHS In Depth, I'm Casey Stanley.
Spanish Club students interested in traveling to Chicago in March must pick up trip paperwork from either Senora Hoon or Senor Pieper starting Tuesday, February 23rd. There is room for only 13 students, so pick up your paperwork early to assure you can join them on the trip.
Photography Club will be setting up a photo booth on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday next week for Just Because Week. It will be there from 7:15 to 7:40 in the morning near the cafeteria. Stop by and get your picture taken. There is no cost involved.
And now here is Austin with another Sports Corner. This week he gets you caught up on a very busy sports weekend taking place here at Homestead.
Hello Homestead, it's time for another edition of the Sports Corner. The boys swim and dive sectionals are this weekend, and I stopped by practice earlier this week to see how the team is feeling. The boys swim and dive team is approaching sectionals this season as they prepare to take down arch rival Carroll.
The boys have been working really hard since August, and I'm really excited to see what they can do at sectionals. It's going to be really tight between us and Carroll. But they've really, as they've all said, put a lot of hay in the barn this season.
The team has done really well this year. We've definitely gotten a lot faster, and I personally had several lifetime bests. It's been a pretty successful season. I can honestly say it's the fastest team I swam with in the past 4 years.
I've been very happy with how well the team's performed this season. Last season was a little bit of a disappointment, and this year the team has come around and won at least 1 or 2 dual meets, so it's been very good.
Both diving and swimming practices can be very tough, mainly because of the many things they have to cover.
Typical diving practice is a lot of dives. It's about 80 reps of just dive after dive. You dive.
It's long, and you get in, you swim some underwaters, and then the rest is just down and back. It's not very fun.
So swim practices are different every day. We have to hit on a bunch of things, all the different strokes, distance, mid-distance, sprint work, starts, turns, pickups, underwater, breath control, lifting, mobility, again, putting the hay in the barn, that takes some work. So every practice is different.
The swimmers and divers all have postseason goals, some for sectionals this weekend and some down the long road at state.
We're trying to win sectionals. It was pretty close last year. The Carroll did really well last year. They got a fast team, but we think we've got better depth than they do this year, so we're really hoping to win.
For state, I hope that we can really go 1-2 at state for Noah and I hope that a couple other divers can make it to the finals, and just overall put as much hay in the barn as we can.
If they don't have it done by this week, there is no fixing it.
You may be wondering why people have bleached hair here at Homestead.
It's been a tradition for a really long time for the swimmers to bleach our hair, though some of our members have elected not to do so, which is fine. But basically, we just bleach it before girls' sectionals, and then we shave it off before guys' finals for sectionals.
So if you see someone with bleached hair walking through the hallways, wish them good luck this weekend at sectionals. A congratulations to freshman diver Jackie Bren, who won the girls diving state championship this past weekend with a score of 485.45. Sophomore Kayla Luardi finished 6th, while freshman Mallory Walker finished 11th. Congratulations also to Megan Johnson, Caitlin Ducker, and Emily Thrasher for placing in multiple state events. Congratulations to the girls swim and dive team on a great season. Another congratulations goes out to seniors Jack Franklin and Drake Rhodes for winning semi-state titles and moving on to the state championships this weekend. Good luck to both wrestlers at state on Saturday. The boys basketball team takes on Carroll in a rivalry game that will be for the conference championship. It's also senior night right after the JV game, and the Champions Together team is back in action right after the senior night festivities. The theme is blackout, and we are expecting a huge crowd, so make sure you get out there early to cheer on your Spartans. And finally, the girls basketball team continues their quest for state tomorrow when they take on Penn for the semi-state championship. This game will be at Carroll High School starting at 7 p.m. With a win, Homestead will advance to the state championship at Bankers Life Fieldhouse in Indianapolis next weekend, so make sure you get out and support your Lady Spartans. I'll be back with an all-new edition of the Sports Corner next Friday featuring the gymnastics team. Good luck to all teams and individuals competing for Homestead this weekend. Well, that wraps up this edition of HHS In Depth. I'm Austin Render.
And I'm Brooke Ann Hensley. Thank you for watching today.
And now here are this week's Pictures of the Week. Congratulations to this week's winners, Junior Harley Heinrich and Senior Samantha Diefenbacher.
To submit a photo for Picture of the Week, just email a high-resolution photo with your name and grade level to hhsindepth@gmail.com.
Today we leave you with a song exclusive to Homestead's radio station, The Point 91 FM.
Have a great weekend, and we'll see you again next week.
Whatever I've done, am I the only one still holding on? Simple plea, make them pay and make them bring my baby back to me. I'll make them pay and make them bring my baby back to me. Judas Iscariot, selling your own, man on the radio, selling your dough. Well, you're so afraid.